Okay, says, all right, welcome to the podcast, everyone. We took a break for the summertime and now we're back into it. I'm excited for this podcast today. We have an amazing guest, and she can kind of give a little intro of herself, and then we'll get more into our conversation today. So, if you would like to introduce yourself, Lisa.
Hi, yeah, my name is Dee Lisa. I'm a dream doula and an artist. And so I have, like, we could talk about so many things, but I think we're going to limit it to dreaming. And because I woke up this morning in this liminal dream state, I think it's amazing and interesting to talk about the liminal state too. And while we're starting our talk, I'm going to go back and turn on these two lights in the background so I don't
Yeah.
look like I'm in a dark, dark closet.
We look pretty good from my standpoint, so no worries there. But yeah, put some light on, shed some light
This
on
is
this
better.
topic.
And yeah, I love this when we used to do a sound check first, but we're just like, let's just go in. But
All
my
in.
and I'll hook up my headset in a minute, which now just said it's connected, but it's connected to my phone. Oh, wow, you can hear me okay?
Yes, I hear you just fine. No worries
Well,
there.
then I'll just take this off my head and not worry about it.
So do you like to be called D Lisa or Lisa or
Thank you for asking. I go by Dee or Dee Lisa. And
Okay.
years ago, I changed my name. My name used to start with the letter D,
Oh,
but
okay.
now my first name is the letter D.
Oh,
And
cool.
that's a
Okay.
long conversation probably for another podcast.
Okay. Well, yeah, let me start over then.
Okay,
So
let's
we'll
go.
just jump into it and I'll address you the right way this time.
Okay.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to Yoga with Serena podcast. I'm excited to start the podcast up again. We took a little break for summertime because all the kids were home and we had lots of fun. And I hope you had an awesome summer as well. But we're back into it with the podcast, and I'm excited for today's guest. We have an amazing topic and an amazing guest. We're going to be talking about dreams and how you can utilize this tool of dream interpretation to possibly up your level of health and wellness in your life and healing. And so I would just like to turn the time over to Dee Lisa, and she can give a little introduction of herself.
Thank you for having me, Serena. I'm so excited to talk about dreams. I could talk about dreams all day long. In fact, this afternoon, I'm going to interpret dreams live at the local farmers market where I have a booth. People can talk to me for 5 minutes and tell me a dream. And the fascinating thing for me is
Oh, wait, sorry, can I pause you? Sorry.
yeah,
I have to record, or am I recording?
I think we're still recording from the beginning. But if you want to stop recording and start again, I'm
How
game.
do we do that?
On the bottom, it should say pause or stop recording. Maybe you didn't start it.
Oh, I don't know. It does say recording, so
I'm recording on my side. So maybe I have to stop recording on my side so you can record on your side. Should I do that? Let me
yeah. How
try.
about you stop? See if you can stop. Hey, everybody, for being here today. We're gonna jump into our podcast. I want to say welcome back after being gone for the summertime. I hope you guys enjoyed your summer. And now we're back into it with the podcast for Yoga with Serena community. And this is your place to come for wellness and healing and health. And I'm excited for our topic today and our guest. Our topic is dreams and how we can utilize dream interpretation to up level our health and wellness and healing. And our guest is a dream interpreter. Her name is Dee Lisa West, and I'll go ahead and turn the time over to her so she can kind of introduce herself, and then we'll go from there.
Hi, thanks for having me. I call myself a dream doula. Really, I'm a life coach, but my passion is talking about dreaming because every night people dream 2 hours. that when they've done
Hmm.
brain scans on sleeping people, we go into that rapid eye movement sleeping for 2 hours on average every night. So if you add that up and you live to be 80, that's 6.5 years you've spent dreaming.
Oh, wow.
And so I ask people, if you went on a trip for 6.5 years, would you want to remember some of it?
Yeah. Right? I would.
And yes, and nightmares and recurring dreams, people don't have any problem remembering those because they're bright and scary and they keep coming back. But every day there's a dream that may or may not have a message in there for you. And
Mhm.
so I would love to hear, do you have a recurring dream or nightmare,
Well,
Serena, that
yes, I
you are
do.
willing to talk about on the air?
I can't think of for myself if there's like a recurring dream, but I know that there's those typical ones that everyone always talks about, like showing up unprepared
Mhm.
or that feeling of like embarrassment. Um, I have maybe a recurring theme of kind of like, I'm not sure like exactly how to do this. I think I told you this, and my dream interpretation from you once was I was just kind of jumping in and doing something even though I really didn't know how. So there are, I think, those kind of recurring themes for a lot of people. Have you found that there's sort of themes throughout?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that I'm not prepared comes up in so many different ways for people. Like they're back in college and they didn't study for the test, but it's
Mm-hmm.
exam day.
Yeah.
Or they're teaching a class and they forgot to get dressed. Or
Yeah.
things like that. They know they're unprepared, but that's just your brain giving you an idea that you should be prepared. In fact, I think there was a study I read recently where if you had those dreams, they did a college student study. If they had the dreams that they worried that they got late for the test or they weren't prepared for the test, they actually did better on the test than the people who didn't
Mm,
have that dream. So that
okay.
dream of worrying about being prepared was preparing them.
Yeah. That's
Crazy, isn't it?
interesting. Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, because sometimes do people wake up from a dream because the dream is like telling them to wake up? Have you ever come across that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, some people have dreams that are telling them to either do something or stop doing something. I had a dream one morning with a really bad hangover, and a voice said to me, you should stop drinking. And in my like not awake, not asleep, hungover state, I was arguing with this voice in my dream state, and I was like, but I don't want to. And the dream voice said, it'll be easier to quit now that you're drinking one bottle of wine versus two. And I was like, I don't drink a bottle of wine a day. And then I got up and started my day, and I thought, that's the kind of voice that stays with you for a
Mm-hmm.
while. Now, did I quit drinking that day? No, but I have quit drinking. And I'm
Oh,
pretty sure that
awesome.
voice was like, stop it, girl.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I dream something that I would like to eat. Here's a more fun dream to think about. Like I dreamt once I was making an omelet. And I was laying in some sautéed spinach
Mm-hmm.
and some grated cheese, and I was flipping it over, and I woke up and I was like, that sounds good. And at the time I was living with this guy. We had a band. We didn't have a lot of food. There's probably beer in the fridge, but I looked in the fridge. There were eggs, cheese, and spinach. So that's what I made for
Wow.
breakfast.
There you go.
And it was the most delicious omelet I probably ever made.
That is so funny. So how did you first get into dream interpretation? And was there like a specific dream that you interpreted and it like set you up like this is what I'm going to do the rest of my life? Or how did you get into it?
This is such a good question. Well, I started doing life coaching, and I took a class in dream interpretation. And inside of this class, we were doing there were 6 of us, and each of us brought a dream typed out to share with everybody. And one or
Mm-hmm.
two of us would get our dreams analyzed during this group. And it was a
Oh,
Jungian
neat.
type analyzation. So the dreamer said the dream, And then the people asked questions about the dream. And then the dreamer said, if I named the dream, this would be what I named it. And then we all offered our interpretations, which they could take or not. And then the dreamer said, this is what I think it means. And through that, I thought, ooh, that is so cool. And I just started doing it for people. And somehow, when people tell me a dream that's very confusing, like, what does this mean? Somehow I'm able to just ask the question intuitively that unlocks the dream message for them. And so now
Mm-hmm.
people just start telling others like she's good at dream interpretation. And I was like, am I? Okay. So it's something I just kind of slipped into, but I love it. I love listening to other people's dreams and thinking, huh, what would it mean if the three alligators were swimming around in your bedroom?
Yeah.
Or what would it
Yes.
mean? Someone recently told me a dream about their favorite sandwich. They dreamt about their favorite sandwich, but it was too big to eat. And
Mm.
then these other things. And he was a high school student. So I'm like, oh, I love it that even young people are coming to tell me their dreams. Pretty much, maybe I've been thinking about it for over, 25 years. Because when my daughter was young, she was about 4, we're driving somewhere, and one day she said, Mommy, which is real? When we're dreaming or when we're awake? And I said, well, what do you think? She said, I think they're both real.
Oh, interesting.
So I used to say, see you in dreamland, honey. And then we
Aw.
would try to dream that we were in the same place, which, because she
Ooh.
was 4, she had a much more vivid imagination than I did.
Uh-huh.
So she'd
Did that
wake up
ever
in the morning and
happen?
say,
Did you guys
Mommy,
meet
I
up in
saw
your
you in the
dreams?
kitchen. I saw you in the kitchen. Did you see me? I'm like,
Aw,
it was so sweet.
that's so
But
cute.
it's so fascinating. Many people have been thinking about dreams. Back in ancient times, they had dream temples where you would
Mm.
go if you were ill. I think this is in Greece. The historians can tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But in Greece, there were temples where if you were ill, you didn't go to a doctor, you went to the dream temple, and everyone collectively dreamed about how to heal you.
Ooh. Well, that would be a nice way to get some healing.
Yeah. Well,
So
you
do you
can get messages like that.
yeah, and do you find that dreams are very spiritual in that way and that it is our soul, our subconscious trying to talk to us, or is it kind of a combination of both of where it's just random and
Oh, that's a
sometimes
good
it's
question.
meaningful?
Yeah, good question, Serena. I think sometimes our dreams are just blah blah blah. They're like organizing things we did that day or finishing
Yeah.
that TV show we didn't quite finish or like it were like nothing. Maybe it's just for entertainment. But
Yeah.
sometimes and the dreams that are recurring or really scary or bright, those are the dreams that are important messages either from our soul self or possibly from our guides and angels and our relatives on the other side. Because
Mhm.
it's not uncommon to see your dead relatives in dreamland.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And sometimes people can talk to them. I talked to
Mhm.
a woman recently. Her mother had passed away many, many, many years ago, and she saw her in a dream. And she said, I hugged her. And it felt so real that I still
Oh.
felt the hug when I woke up.
Hmm. That's so nice.
Isn't that sweet? Yeah.
That is lovely. I know. I feel emotions when I up from dreams sometimes. And
Yeah.
it's interesting how it can feel so real. And you're like, takes a moment to be like, wait, actually, that didn't happen? Because it's kind of like your daughter was saying, it was like, is the dream real or is waking life real? And sometimes that dream life does feel real, especially when you first wake up and you still feel those emotions. They're very real.
Yeah, it's a different level of consciousness. I like to say it this way. There's a level of consciousness right here where we think we're awake.
Mm-hmm.
Although people who die and come back to tell us about it say that when they died, they woke up and this seemed like a dream.
Right.
So here we are in this waking reality. We say it's real life, waking life. Then we can meditate and be in a different level of consciousness. And then we can
Mhm.
be asleep and dreaming, and that's a different level of consciousness. And there are yogis, people who have meditated a lot, who can go into
Mhm.
a dream, know that they're dreaming, and then
Mhm.
meditate inside the dream.
Yes. Yes. So yoga nidra is
Yes.
sort of like that. It's kind of like the dream yoga state where you go into like a dream state. And if
Yeah,
you're
yeah, you
awake,
go there
like
on
if you're
purpose.
conscious enough to kind of like control the dream,
Yeah.
and it's sort of like kind of replacing maybe belief systems that you want to change that are just like deep rooted in your soul, and you can kind of go inside and like reaffirm what you do want to believe and things like that. So that is, yeah, yoga nidra.
Yeah, yeah. There's a book I
So
have called I think it's called Dream Yoga. Yoga,
mhm.
yeah, by Polachek, I think. He's written a lot about lucid dreaming and liminal dreaming.
Yeah.
Um, so fascinating. And then there's that space where maybe you go into this space in Yoga Nidra where you're not awake and you're not asleep. But there's
Mhm.
this drifty, dreamy, kind of psychedelic space to be in, and it's called liminal. The liminal state between awake and
Mhm.
asleep has a certain Greek word for it, and the liminal state between asleep and awake has a different. Hypnagogic and hypnopompic are those
Ah,
states of awareness where you're
yeah.
not really awake and you're not really asleep. In fact, inventors and artists have used that space on purpose. um, Albert Einstein is said to have used it. Thomas
Mhm.
Edison and Salvador Dali both did it in their workshops when they were working on a problem or working on a piece of art. They would sit somewhere and drift off to sleep with something in their hands that would clang when they fell asleep. And when that clanging sound
Oh.
woke them, Salvador Dali would sketch what he was dreaming,
Mhm.
and Thomas Edison would write in his workbook whatever his invention he was working on then, what came to him in that state. It is
Yeah.
a beautiful way to get answers, but it's also really drifty, dreamy. So if you go into that state and then go to sleep, those interesting tidbits are kind of lost. You have to
Right.
wake yourself
So
up to remember them.
for the listeners who are maybe going to want to get into getting to know their dreams a little bit more and using them in a healing way, or kind of like you said, in an inspirational way, is there a way to kind of learn how to remember your dreams if you don't remember them at all?
Oh yeah.
Or do you have
Oh
any
yeah.
suggestions on that?
Yeah, here's my suggestion. First of all, tell yourself before you go to sleep, I'm going to remember my dreams, and then see if you
Mm-hmm.
do. 100% of the time when I meet someone and they say, I don't dream, I don't remember my dreams, the next time I see them, they're like, Dee, you won't believe it. I had a dream. I'm like, wow, of course
Yeah.
you did. So the intention that you'll remember your dream is one.
Right.
Also,
Okay.
the first 10 minutes of being awake is when you need to remember and write down your dream. Otherwise, poof, unless it's a nightmare, you'll forget it. So I have
Mm.
a journal next to my bed that I write my dreams in, and I write them down this way. One, what day is it? Two, where am I in the world? If I'm traveling or something, I write down what city I'm in. Three, what am I thinking about, worrying about, troubled about in waking life? Like I say, fight with my boyfriend or lost the this or that or whatever I'm working on. Then the dream. Then I write down the
Mhm.
dream in as much detail as possible, especially what emotions were in it, where I was, what I was doing. And if I don't have a lot of time to write the dream, I'll just do 3 bullet points to come back to it later. Then you can
Right.
set that aside. I found that after I've been writing down my dreams for more than 30 years, and I can look back on these
Wow.
old dream journals and go, oh, wow, I remember that dream. It's like
Uh-huh.
remembering a movie, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But I don't remember the meaning of the dream because I didn't write down what was happening in my day-to-day life until a few
Yeah.
years ago.
Okay.
And
Yes.
now if I go back, I'm like, I was thinking about this. I dreamt about that. Duh! The message is so clear when you put those both together.
Yeah, so then you can learn how to kind of interpret what your dreams are meaning to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and for the listener who's like, I don't know what any dream means, someone's chasing you. What are you running from in life? There's a
Mhm.
scary thing happening. What are you afraid of in life? Are you not
Yeah.
moving forward? Are you driving off a cliff? And what you write down. I was reading one of my dreams to one of my daughters recently, and they said, Mom, you don't talk like that. I said, no, that's true. When I write down my dreams, sometimes really interesting words and turns of phrases come out that are not at all my day-to-day talking. But if you look at those exact words that you wrote, they're the key to the meaning of the dream.
Interesting. So you wrote things down that you wouldn't normally say?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. I would say something like, I'll make something up now. I would say something, the beautiful, mystical ball was floating through the air. Something, and I go, beautiful, mystical. Ooh, that must mean something.
Yeah.
Every
Interesting.
once in a
Yeah.
while, I dream a word that I don't know. I have
Oh.
to look it up.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, what does that dream mean? I don't know. I don't know that word. Like the word is
Yeah,
the
like the
key.
word appeared in your dream.
Yeah, like it was just a word I was hearing or word I was seeing. Sometimes I read things in dreamland or get
Oh.
chemical formulas, which is sad because I'm not a chemist. I'm like, oh, there's a chemical formula, and if I knew how
Oh,
to write
have you
that
written
down.
down these formulas?
Sometimes it's not something I can do in my waking life.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, oh, I got the chemical formula for this thing to turn fabric into this other thing. And then all of a sudden I was like, whoa, that dream came to the wrong person.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
I
but
love that.
probably everyone who's listening can remember a childhood dream.
I can too. I do. I remember. And it's kind of like a scary one for sure because I woke up.
Do you want
Um,
to share it with the readers or
yeah,
is it
I
good
can share.
enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was kind of like with my family. I can't remember exactly which family members. I know I think my mom and like a brother and a sister, and we were like ice skating on this lake that was frozen, and there was snow. And I think I fell through the ice. And so I'm down there in the ice, kind of looking up to my family, and I'm like reaching, and um, I can't remember if that is how it was or I was the one on the top of the ice looking down to a family member, but I feel like it was more of I was in the ice and I was just kind of like screaming for my family, and I was like, "Mom," I think I was yelling for my mom or something, and I was like, yelling, and in like real life I was yelling, and so my mom came in, she's like, it's okay, and I like woke up from my dream. But I remember that feeling, it was just like such a scary feeling, and I remember that dream still.
Yeah. And so you were a little kid. How old were you, maybe?
I probably was, I would think probably after 8 years old, around there, seven,
Mhm.
8,
Okay.
9.
And is ice skating something you would do in real life?
No, nope.
Interesting. Okay, so you're ice skating, you fall through the ice, you're yelling for your mom, and you're scared. But in real life, your mom comes and says, "It's okay, honey. It was a dream."
Hmm.
But in the dream, you're lost underwater. You're doing something dangerous with your family, and your family's got to save you, but they don't save you before you wake up. So maybe, I mean, who can't relate to being 8 years old and thinking that your
Hmm.
family's got to help you somehow do whatever?
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
Yeah, and, I had a traumatic experience when I was 8, and I've talked about it a little bit on the podcast and things, but, we went to foster care for like a few weeks by mistake. It was just a mistake by CPS. Because we had a home invader who sexually assaulted me, and they had assumed it was my dad, and so they took us from the home, and so it was just this whole mess. And yeah, so that I imagine that dream was after that experience, feeling kind of like I can't get to my family. In foster care, it was very like lonely and sad, and like I was torn from my family. So yeah.
Was that dream when you were in foster care then, or when you came
No,
home?
it was when I was home. I remember that because I know my mom came in and said it's okay.
Yeah. Before or after you went to foster care, I wonder.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too. Like I didn't write it down, I didn't put the date and all that, but
It kind of seems like it's an after that event, you would have that dream because you'd be like, who's going to help me? Where am I? What's going on?
yeah.
Wow. It's so interesting. Almost everyone I talk to can remember a dream from their childhood.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I read an article recently that said lucid dreamers, when people are little kids, like age 6, they're really good lucid dreamers. So they'll be in a dream and they'll know it's a dream.
Mhm. Oh,
And
that's
then
interesting.
they'll do fun things like fly around.
Yeah. That's so cute. I have
Um,
a 6-year-old and I can imagine him doing that. He's very
yeah,
like
like when you're in a dream.
imaginative and
Yeah, you probably tell your 6-year-olds, when you're dreaming, you can do whatever you want.
yeah.
You can
And
fly,
he
you can walk through walls, you can turn into
yeah.
a creature, you can
He
run as
wants
fast.
to live at Kalahari, so I'm sure he's like living at Kalahari when he's in his dream, which is like this really fun water park by us. And
I love
so,
that. I love talking to kids about dreams because they are like when you're I think the studies have shown that when you're up to age 5, maybe it's a little older than that, you're in this mental the brainwave state is like you're in a dream.
yes, I've heard that too. That
So
they're more like open to suggestion
yeah.
than after that point because they kind of just like if their parents tell them something, they're like, okay, they're so open to suggestion.
Yeah, if you look
And
at a little kid who's pretty young and they're just staring at a butterfly or something, you're like, "What are you doing?" And they're like, "Oh, butterfly." It is like for them, like it's like that question that my daughter asked me, "What's real?"
yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't know what's real. Is it this a dream?
Yeah.
Like they could totally go,
Yeah.
"Yeah, this is a dream. This is a weird dream. Why am I in this dream?"
Uh-huh. So cute. I love that.
I
And
love the
I
concept that waking life is a dream. Deepak Chopra calls it
oh yeah,
a vivid, he calls it a lucid dream and a vivid now
interesting.
life.
Yeah.
Life is a lucid dream
So that
if
makes me
you wake
think
up to
in
it.
that case, yeah, we can just kind of like wake up and make the dream whatever we want it,
100%.
right?
There's a 100-year-old book right now by Frances Shovel Shin called The Game of Life and How to Play It. And she didn't say it's a dream, she said it's a play. And you're the
Yeah.
actor, and you're the director,
Uh-huh.
and you're the producer, and you can make life whatever you want because
Yeah.
it's your play.
Yeah, I love that. And so when you talk about people's dreams, um, is there a way that you can guide them to sort of like changing their dream to what they want it to be?
In waking life,
Yeah, like maybe if you wake up and you're still like in that state, like you're kind of dreaming, but you're kind of awake. Like that's happened to
mm,
me before where I'm like, oh, and I feel like I'm really kind of still in this dream. And then I kind of just make it like what I want it. Be like, no, I'm gonna, and then I just kind of are in this imaginary land with it, but I kind of am awake. So is that a thing too, where you can
well,
kind of,
that's being a lucid dreamer. So you're awake
Mm-hmm.
inside the dream, but you're in the
Yeah.
dream. You know you're in the
Yeah.
dream.
Okay.
For most people, that's difficult to do, lucid dreaming. But if you ever find yourself awake inside a dream and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, dang, this is a dream, try to do something. You can walk through a wall, you can turn into a creature, you can kill that monster that's trying to kill you, you can fly. I
Yeah.
started practicing lucid dreaming and mainly, I haven't really done it really well yet. But if I'm having a nightmare and let's say I'm like crawling up the side of a cliff and I'm like, oh no, I'm falling down this cliff. I'm like, wait, this is a dream. I can crawl up this cliff. So then I'll just switch from, crawl up the cliff and then I wake up. Or I just realize it's a dream and then I wake up. So
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of people, when they first start lucid dreaming, knowing they're dreaming wakes them up. But it sounds like
Yeah.
you, Serena, can stay in the dream and shift it and change it. And that is the fun of lucid dreaming.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Didn't know I was a lucid
You're a high
dreamer.
level lucid dreamer.
Yeah.
So yes, if you wake up inside, and what people wonder about is how do I know I'm dreaming?
Mm-hmm.
For me, if I notice that electronics don't work in dreamland, I would know I'm in a dream. Because
Oh,
I've been
yeah.
in dreams before, I'm like trying to send somebody a text, but none of the things are working. Or I'm trying to do something on the computer and none of the things are working. Then I wake up and it's like,
Um,
oh, it's a friggin' dream. That's why. Um,
yeah.
Other people say if they look at if they look at their clock and the numbers are all wrong, they know it's a dream.
Yeah.
There's a guy who did
Interesting.
lucid dreaming so much, like he tried for over a year to be a lucid dreamer, taking all these supplements and waking up at a certain time and going back to sleep at a certain time. And he got so good at lucid dreaming that he didn't always know if he was awake. And
Hmm.
so his tell was if he said, like one day I thought, is this a dream or am I awake? And he was walking across a field and he thought, well, I'm going to test it. So he hopped and he came back down to the ground. He goes, okay, I'm awake. Because in his
Mm-hmm.
dreams, if he hops, he keeps floating up real slowly. So that's like, it might look weird, but if you're walking around and you want to know if you're awake, you could hop.
Well, that reminds me of the movie Inception
Yeah,
with Leonardo DiCaprio, and they utilize the dreams to kind of like put a thought in someone's mind and things like that, and they have to have something that helps them to know if they're in reality or in a dream. So
yeah.
he has that little token that he spins, and if it keeps spinning without falling, he knows that it's a dream. So at the end, you don't know if he's dreaming or not because he spins the little token and it just keeps spinning, and then the movie stops.
And you're like, oh, wait, what?
Yeah, we're like, I don't
Yeah.
know. Is he in a dream or not?
Yeah. And I think if you got really good at lucid dreaming, then you could also get really good at realizing that this is a dream too. And so whatever it is that you don't prefer, you could change it to something you do prefer,
Yeah.
or you could change your mind about that thing you don't prefer. And
It
so
reminds
you
me
love
of
it.
like hypnosis. And I interviewed someone before on the podcast
Mm.
who was a hypnotherapist, and he talked about kind of this idea of like the dream state and being open to suggestion and how the brain can access different levels of consciousness and awakeness. And that's kind of what hypnosis aims to do, is help someone by putting in like the thought or the idea that is wanted, and that it can be like a tool that's very dangerous too. So you have to have the right people utilizing these tools because the brain is such a powerful part of our body and our life and our soul. And so you want to have the right people. And so for you, what would you suggest to people who are maybe wanting to come to a dream interpreter? Of course, they would be happy to come to you, but is there anything that they should look for in a dream interpreter to make sure it's going to be safe and legit?
Well, I think a lot of people would go to, and if you're in therapy, you could ask your therapist if they want to do some dream work with you, because there's a whole way to work with people's dreams that's even deep. Like I just go, oh, I think it's this or that. That if with a Jungian therapist, they would take you back into the dream, like lay it down on the couch and go back into the dream. What if
Mm,
you were the backpack? What if you were the car? Think about this. What if everything in the dream was you? Which is one Jungian way of looking at it.
mhm.
Um, but I would find somebody if you wanted to talk about dreams. I don't know if there are other people that do dream interpreting that aren't therapists.
Yeah.
Um,
So
it's
obviously they can come to
fascinating.
you for sure.
I love to talk to people about dreams all day long. And it's usually really interesting. Like you'll have a confusing dream and go, oh, I see what that means. Like one confusing dream might be there's an alligator between you and the door. And my question would be, what is between you and where you want to go that might
Hmm.
bite you or harm you or eat you?
Hmm.
And then almost everybody would go, oh, my landlord, the neighbors, my mom, whatever it
Yeah.
was that is stopping them from where they want to
Yeah.
go. It's so, it's so fascinating. But I would say start with a dream journal.
Yeah. And then if someone were to wake up from like a bad dream, nightmare, especially like our kids or something like that, is there a way to kind of help someone through a difficult dream and to like maybe find some resolution from it or to like release it somehow? How would you kind of go about that?
Oh, good question. How would you help a kid through a nightmare, a frightening dream? I would let them talk about it.
Yeah.
Then I would probably say, next time you dream about that, why don't you turn into the monster? Or like give them some kind of power over
Yeah.
their dreams, like I did with
Yeah.
my 4-year-old. Like next time, like I'll see you in dreamland. So every night I'd say, see you in dreamland. In the morning, she'd
Uh-huh.
say, do you see me? Did you? Or if someone
Yeah.
wakes up from a frightening nightmare, it's like let them talk all about it. Because as you and I talked about at the very beginning of this conversation, it seems real.
Hmm.
We wake up
Yeah.
scared or hungry or inspired. It seems so real. It seems like we're awake while we're
Hmm.
dreaming.
Yeah. It's so interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so if someone was interested in working with you, how could they get a hold of you?
Oh, people can
And
find me everywhere online at D Lisa Dream Doula. So I'm
yes.
on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I have a website. The website's not called Dream Doula, but why not? Coachingwithdee.com is my
Hmm.
website.
Okay,
But
awesome.
you can find me everywhere online. And
Yes, I found you on Instagram and I love your Instagram. That's
thank
super,
you.
super fun to follow. So, yeah, for sure. All the listeners, if you're interested, follow D Lisa. And let's see, do you have any other suggestions or messages you want to tell the listeners about dreams and how they can use it to kind of up level their life if they're like having like recurring dreams or things like that? What can they do to use it as a tool to help them?
Recurring dreams come back over and over again until you get the message. I had one for 30 years.
Wow.
I asked people, I asked therapists, I asked everybody, what does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? What does it?
Uh-huh.
Some of those dreams are very coded. They're very um, stylized, and so you don't really get it. For me, I
Yeah.
kept dreaming someone stole my flute in different apartments and houses that I didn't really live in, but I would come home in the dream and it looked like a crime scene and nothing would be missing but my flute. And I'd be so mad. I'm calling the police. I'm going to get this guy. I want my flute back. And in the dream, I heard this voice that said, what do you care? You don't even play that flute anymore.
Hmm.
I'm like, what does that mean? 30 years later, I went to art school for 4 years and became a painter, and I lost the dream. So the
Oh.
dream message was be creative, not play the flute. Um,
Did
so
you play
now
the flute though
I played the flute like in
in your
grade
waking life?
school, college.
Oh, uh-huh.
I still have it in my closet. I hide it so no one will steal it. Oh my God. If you're listening, burglars, don't look in my closet. Um, but it was fascinating to me that so if you have a recurring dream, maybe it's not exactly what that dream is telling you. There's a metaphor. There's a
Yeah,
metaphor in there. And I would say, writing down your dreams, starting a dream journal is really the way to do it. And then to think about, what if you have something you're troubled with in life that you're worried about, that you're working on, you can go to sleep at night and say, I want to dream about what to do next. Bring me a dream. That's a
okay.
beautiful way to live with your dreams
Yeah,
as a dream, like dream partner.
yeah,
And you'll get a message. But it might be in dream language, right?
yeah.
One night I went to sleep. I was very, very worried about something. I was like, what should I do about this or that? Guides and angels, relatives on the other side, come tell me what to do in dreamland. And I had this dream. I'm looking down a dark corridor and there's a lit room at the end with music playing. And I see my parents slow dancing.
Aw.
Then I wake up and I'm like, what the does that mean? Slow dancing. Okay, I'm really, really worried. I guess the message is just relax. Everything's fine.
Oh, it's a good message.
What's slow dancing mean? And of course, my parents have both passed over. So, first of all, I hope they're dancing in heaven, wherever that is. And they loved to dance. And I was like, okay, thank you. I'll
Yeah,
just relax. So, know that if you ask for a message, you'll get an answer in either that night or the next night or the next night after. You'll
yeah.
get a dream. And then do you remember the dream and do you understand the dream?
Hmm.
But yeah,
And
I
then
would love to
have you
talk to
ever
Aaron.
like asked or said, I want to dream about this, or like, I want to, yeah, kind of just have this specific type of dream. Like, I want
Yeah,
to picture myself doing whatnot, and then go to bed and you dream that.
I haven't, but I've had friends and colleagues do that. One of my friends said she was feeling really lonely and sad, and she said before she went to sleep, she said, "Oh dear God, I want to feel love. I need some love in my life." And she went to sleep that night and she had an epic dream that lasted all night, she told me. She dreamt about a boy that she knew in high school. Now, this guy had passed away. So maybe he was really visiting her from the other side. We don't know. But she was on a date with him in New York City. And they went to a play, they went to dinner, they went walking all around, kind of holding hands. And she woke up and she said, I kept waking up from the dream and going back into the dream. And then waking up from the dream and going back into the dream all night long. She said, I had the best date ever.
Aw,
And then she woke up and felt so loved. So, yeah, it can happen. You can ask for whatever you want and then go play in dreamland.
yeah, I love that. So I'm gonna practice these things. I need to get my journal, write those things down, the date and what's happening in waking life, and then the dream.
Yes.
And then practice maybe those tools of if I wake up, um, and I'm in that lucid dream, play with that, and also call out maybe what type of dreams I want to have and things like that. And yeah, just to see how utilizing this time, what, 6.5 years of our life, how that can, benefit us and help us in any way possible.
Yes, Serena. I can't wait to hear how it works for you.
Yes, I hope to have another conversation with you soon. And talk about your art and all the things, and talking about dreams is always fun. So,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being on the podcast
Thank you.
today. And I hope to hear from you soon, and I'll be following you. And thank you for all that you do with dream interpretation.
Thank you, Serena, for having me. It's been really fun. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.